I did, I was in Washington, right by Sharon. And I was going to the boat to go on an Alaskan cruise. And I needed to get investors to finance my 6 unit deal. So I was in an Uber for 20 minutes to finance a deal. Do you guys think I got it done? I got it done in 10 minutes. Now, I'm not going to mention any names, but I told some people this story, told them what kind of deal I got. So I had somebody put their name in my phone book for the next deals. Okay. And it kind of surprised me that their name started becoming with all A's for the very beginning of it.
That's funny.
And we know why he did it, right?
Yeah. He could be at the top.
Yeah, because I got all the way down to the E's before the deal was gone. So yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So everybody has their name starts with A now.
Yeah. So when I
Nice.
call somebody, I say, "Is this AAA?"
Oh, that's funny. That is funny. It's so incredible what you've been able to do. And it's so incredible that you're so willing to share your wisdom with us. I'm so grateful for that.
And what you guys got to keep in mind, I've been through two major downturns in my life, and I think we might be coming next to another one. So when I'm giving you my strategies, you have to keep in mind that I am very conservative. Okay. There's certain things that I will not do. Okay. I will not take money out of my buildings to buy another building. I just won't do it. When I buy a building, I put them on 20-year amortizations because they build up equity quickly. Cash flow kind of sucks for the first 5 years, but they build up cash flow quickly. And by the time I come up with my first balloon, I'm at 50% loan to value. Now, guys, I'm going to give you a lot of terms. And like right now, I bet I just gave some people some terms that people have no idea what I'm talking about. If you want to be confused, don't ask questions. If you want to go real quickly and really short and not learn anything, don't ask questions. Okay. My presentations are always interactive because if you don't know what I'm talking about, I guarantee you there's a whole bunch of people that don't know what I'm talking about. And I've been doing it so long, I assume everybody knows what I'm talking about. And that's not the case. So if I say something, feel free to ask questions.
What's
I will go into an 8 hour seminar and I'll have 5 or 6 bullet points that I have to talk about in all 8 hours. And I only get through half the bullet points because people ask questions and we have discussions the whole time. And that's how people learn. Because I could teach you all kinds of stuff. And if that's not what you want, or that's what it's not what you need, it's worthless. So ask questions.
Ed? What's a
I love
balloon? I'm
it.
curious, just for people that don't know.
Balloon. When you get a house, everybody's used to buying a house and they get a 30-year mortgage, they pay for it for 30 years and it's paid off. That would be on a 30-year amortization. That means you pay the loan over 30 years. When I'm doing a amortization, I'm doing it over 20 years. Now, commercial loans, like 5 units and above, will not give you a 30-year mortgage with no balloon. So what they do for me, they give me a mortgage on a 20-year amortization, and they say at the end of 7 years, I either have to refinance it or I have to pay it off. That's how commercial loans work. Commercial loans do not have to renew your loan. So when I'm doing a loan, that's why I do the short amortizations, because at the end of 7 years, I want to be bankable. If interest rates go up, like, you know, probably not going to happen, but keep in mind, most of my loans were done 3, 4 years ago at 4%. Does anybody think I can still get 4% loans?
I do actually, because we know something that a lot of other people don't know, right?
I can get them, but if I have to go to a bank, I'm not getting them.
Right. You can't get them from a bank, but a lot of other
Right.
people have them for the last 5 years or so, 5, 6 years. A lot of other people have them already, right?
Yeah. I've got loans that are at 4% that I could probably renew at 4%, but that's not common. Okay. You have to really search for those. And what he's talking about is like owner financing. I get a lot of owner financing. And my people are owner financing that want a fixed income. I got one loan for 3% for 15 years with no balloon. And that's because the guy was dying. He was carrying an oxygen bottle and he wanted an income for his wife for 15 years. So he made the interest rate low so I could never refinance it because I'd be crazy to refinance a 3% loan with no balloon. So he knows for 15 years I'm paying his wife. His wife gets a check put into her account every month, no hassles, and everybody's happy. So does that make sense? And just so you know, if I told you that my portfolio is 85% owner financed, how many times do you think that I ask for owner financing when I'm sitting down with an owner? How many
And can
times
I
you
can,
guys?
I- can I can I borrow $100, Ed? How do you feel if I ask you, can I borrow $100? Does it you like that or no? I'm just curious.
No.
No.
People ask me all the time, no. You guys can practice asking owners for owner financing, and out of 100 times, do you know what they're going to say?
Yes.
They're going to say no. They will not say yes. So, do you think I ever asked for owner financing? What do you think? 85%, 65% of my portfolio is owner financed. Do you think I asked for owner financing? You're right. I don't. And the reason I don't is they won't say yes. So if I don't ask for owner financing, how do I get so much owner financing? Anybody got a clue?
Get them to offer it, maybe?
They offer it to me.
Yeah. Why would they want to do that? Just curious.
If you take the classes, and they've got a whole bunch of classes, okay, and you learn the tax codes, imagine if you're buying $1 million property, they owe $500,000 on it. When you sit down and you explain to them, they got closing costs for 80,000, they got to pay off the $500,000 worth of loan, because a lot of people use these buildings as piggy banks, and they've got $400,000 taxes. So on their $1 million building, after they pay taxes and everything, they're going to walk away with $20,000 or $30,000. And you look at them and say, "Is this what you were thinking your retirement was going to look like?" What do you think they say? They say no. Then I sit there and I look at them and say, "Wow, I only know one way of getting around doing this." And I shut up. What do you think happens at that point?
They ask you what that is.
Yeah, well, since you asked, you could sell me the building with no money down. I'll pay you $40,000 a year. You could pay your 20,000 a year to the bank, and you could cash flow $20,000 a year for the next 10 years. And if the guy is 85 years old, there's one more thing that I add, and you got to be tactful about this. There's only one more way I know of not paying taxes. If you die in the next 10 years, your estate will get stepped up basis and all the taxes that you'd have to pay will go away. Now, these guys are 85 years old and they have kids and everything, and they want to leave the money to their kids. Do you think that they think that's a viable option? It is. So they will sell me the stuff just to save the taxes and pass it on to their kids later on after they die. Yeah, dying is an excellent strategy not to pay taxes. But I always tell them there's one way of doing it, and that's dying. I totally suggest not doing it. I always tell them I suggest not doing it. But they're sitting there thinking that, that they're going to die and it's going to go to their kids. I've got 210, 220 units. I actually counted them last week for the first time, and I don't know how long. I've got like 210, 220 units. And if I sold out tomorrow, Uncle Sam would get probably half my portfolio. So my best way is to find somebody to take it over, take my business over, and just keep running it till I die, keep cash flowing it. And you know what I'm saying? So what kind of questions do you guys got? I had to come up with, I had to confuse somebody somewhere along the line here. Nobody's got
The
any.
Your CPA says that dying is an excellent tax strategy.
You like that? I saw that too.
So somebody has to have questions, and you can come off your camera if you'd like.
Yeah, you guys should all like, let me see your smiling face. Because see, you guys might be at 9 o'clock, but people like me, we're at 8 o'clock, and
So
Jerome is like at 6 o'clock.
Ed, do you mind sharing with people how do you find your deals? Because I know that a lot of people are looking for deals. I know that I'm looking for deals over here in Washington State, and the numbers just doesn't make sense.
All right,
And if I can,
we'll find the deals second. Let's talk about numbers first.
right.
People are like really, I've never seen people so unrealistic as they are right now. Okay, because interest rates went up in the last year and people are not adjusting for interest rates. I think the realization is going to come soon because you're going to have a flood. Right now, the reason they're still getting high prices is how do you guys think the stock market is doing? Does the stock market scare anybody right now? Nobody's scared of the stock market?
Absolutely. It's crazy.
So if you're scared of the stock market right now and you believe we're gonna have a crash next year, what are you doing?
Either pulling the money out and put it into a safer vehicle or going a little bit conservative in the stocks, right?
Okay, so if you're gonna pull it out a little safer, what are you gonna put it in? Buying real estate.
Yes.
So people are taking their money out and they're getting the 3-4% returns in real estate and hoping for appreciation. If the stock market picks back up, like if we hit a crash and it starts getting good again, and interest rates stay up, you're going to see deals in real estate. You're going to see a lot of deals. So going back, how do you find the real estate? Okay. How I find real estate and how you find real estate are going to be two different processes. You guys may find this hard to believe, but I'm starting to get a little lazy in life. Okay. So I don't need to do any more deals. So if I'm going to do a deal, do you think I'm going to go out and hit the payment or do you think I'm going to wait for them to come to me? What do you think?
You're gonna wait.
Great.
Wait,
So how do I get them to come to me?
Is it from the
We
wealth
do-
cycle? Is that
We
part of
do
it?
we do 1,000 mailers a month to apartment buildings. We send a picture of their apartment building on a letter. And on my letter, I offer three things. I offer, do you want it managed? Do you want me to buy it? Or do you need to do education? I have never sold education off of the mailer. So why do you think I put it on there?
Get individuals just to ask questions and follow up with you.
Follow up with me and it makes me look like an expert. So we put out 1,000 mailers a month. That 6 unit we just bought a month ago came off of a mailer. And then we're gonna go with things that you could do. Mailers are good, but they're expensive. We pay $1 a mailer, so we're sending out 1,000 mailers a month. So I may do $12,000 to $20,000 with the mailers to get one deal a year. I'm okay with that, okay? Because I don't need to do quantity deals, and I don't want to do quantity deals. Okay. Would you like to see how sophisticated I was buying my 6 unit? And you guys are going to promise not
Yes.
to tell anybody?
Yes.
You got to promise not to tell anybody, though, okay? Because
Okay.
people assume that I have a very sophisticated method of doing this. ZZ in my office wants to buy stuff in DuPage County. And I told ZZ we're never going to buy anything in DuPage County because they're too expensive and the figures are never going to work. So to prove to ZZ that this was not possible, we did 1,000 mailers to DuPage County. Okay. Because we know it's not going to work. Somebody called me with the 6 unit. I know the 6 unit is worth about $700,000. Okay. And I know I'm not paying $700,000 for a 6 unit. So we're talking, and he gives me his rents. His rents are half of what they should be. His rents were $800 a month. So is there any way I could take this 6 unit and get it financed at a bank? There's like no way. So, first of all, you know how you talk to the person, you get their name and phone number and the address of the property? Well, I knew this wasn't going to work, so I didn't do any of that. I just talked to the guy. Okay. Didn't get the address, didn't look up the address on the internet, didn't get the guy's name, didn't do anything. We went through figures, and I said, I can't get this building financed. The only way that I could do it is I could buy it with owner financing for $600,000, 10% down. That's the only way I could buy it. And then the guy goes, well, if you paid cash, what would you give us? Because it's an estate sale. So now you got to think real quickly and you got to give him a number to make sure that he takes your owner financing, right? I said the only way I could do it is I'd have to pay $500,000 for it. Okay. And I said that's going to be tough to get through the bank, but I could probably, with my banking relations, I could probably get it through the bank for $500,000. All right. So okay, we'll get back to you. So obviously, I proved to ZZ that you can't do a deal in DuPage County, right? That was on Wednesday. Friday, I'm driving home, and I got speakerphone in my car. And I get a phone call. It says, "Hi, this is so and so." Now, would anybody bet that I didn't know who so and so was? He goes, "We're taking your $500,000 offer." So the first thing that's going through my mind is, what did I make a $500,000 offer on? What did I just buy? Because I know I haven't looked at any properties. And who is this guy talking to me? And then I figured out it was a guy I talked to a few days before, and it was a U6 unit up in Addison. Okay. So we made an appointment to go look at it Monday, got the address, got the guy's name, wrote it down with the number, and wrote down the address. And we went out and looked at the building. And knock on wood, we looked at the building, and I didn't know what we were going to go see, to be honest with you, how bad it was. And the building was in excellent shape. It was perfect, a brick 6 unit. The only problem was the rents were low. So in order to get it financed, though, because the rents were so low, we had to raise the maintenance guy's rents at closing, and had to have it in writing before closing. His rent was $800, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And the bank said I had to have it at 14 or 1500 in order to close. So we wrote a lease for 14 or 1500 for the maintenance guy, paid him $650 for a contract for a year to do maintenance on the building. Thus, it kept his rent the same, but it made the bank happy. And now he's doing maintenance because he was doing maintenance anyway. We were able to close. Does anybody guess what the appraisal came in at closing? Because we bought it for 500. Came in at 640
7.
at closing. No, it came in at 640 because the rents were so low. You muted me.
Sorry about
She
that. We had somebody else coming off of mute, and then as soon as they did it, it hit you instead. Apologize.
They can come off mute. That's fine. It came in at 640. All right. Do you know why it only came in at 640? The appraiser couldn't justify doing a $700,000 appraisal on a $500,000 purchase. Now, coming in at 640, do you think we had any hassles with that appraisal? We did. Because the underwriters came back and said, why are we getting a 640 appraisal on a $500,000 purchase price? So we had to explain. So it's not as easy as just saying, oh yeah, this is great. It is set off all kinds of red flags. And the appraiser knew that, and that's why the appraiser didn't come in at 700,000. So that's how I sophisticatedly bought that building. You guys see
So
Do you
Ed,
guys
I'm
see
sorry.
just making offers and talking to people how you're going to end up with deals? Okay, go on.
Sorry. Just going through this deal. So you bought it for 500. The appraisal was for 640.
Yes,
The loan that you got was for how much from the bank?
400. 400.
So you got a loan for 400, basically, 80% from the 500. So why would the underwriter care that the appraisal was 640?
Yes, they don't see it. They don't see that kind of deals, especially in this market. It's set up red flags. You know, did I pay the appraiser $100 to come up with a bogus appraisal? And that's why the appraiser knew enough not to come in at 700. What do you think would have happened if the appraiser came in at 700?
You wouldn't have got
they would-
financing.
Yeah, they probably would have ordered another appraisal,
Yeah.
and the appraiser knew that.
Can you briefly touch on the analysis? Because we're not analyzing multifamilies like we do single families and everything. Can you just touch on that a little bit? Because you said earlier you knew that 6 unit was worth 700,000. How'd you know that?
I knew that. Um, keep in mind, I get bored easy. Okay, so I have to keep busy. Thus, I'm here every month to help you guys, and I don't get paid for this. Okay, I make no money doing this, but I like doing it. It keeps me busy. And my wife's under the impression that I need to stay busy and not drive her crazy. So we go out every single week looking at apartment buildings and making offers. I may make 50 offers to get one deal. And right now, I don't need to buy anything. I have a wife that believes we own too much. So some people refer to me as a wholesale buyer. I'm not sure why, but I only do 1 or 2 deals a year, but I make offers every week. Would that bother you guys if you made 1 or 2 offers a week and you only got 1 offer every year? Would that bother anybody? See, you say yes, it's going to bother you. You know what would bother me more? If I got a deal every week. that would bother me a lot more. I would
I should
rather
say
get
before. I should say before I got here, it would bother me. But knowing that that one deal, that the money is right, it wouldn't bother
right,
me.
right. So the reason we knew that the buildings were worth 700, we were negotiating on another deal out there, and it was an owner finance deal, and I would have done that deal 10 years ago, and I didn't do that deal because it's not the point in life I am right now. I pass on a lot of my deals in my office to people, like people in my office. I pass a lot of deals on just because I just don't want to do them. Not that they're bad deals. I'll give you an example. We got a duplex. We bought it for 70,000 with 10% down. That was $7,000 down. The rent, it rents for 2,000 a month. The mortgage payment is 700 a month on a 10-year amortization with no balloon. And it's bringing you $2,000 a month for rent. Is that a good deal? It is. It's a real good deal. I negotiated that deal. Do you think I bought it? I didn't. I gave it to Alex. A lot of you know Alex. I gave it to Alex and ZZ and some other people that were hanging around at the time. I gave them the deal. And what's interesting is my maintenance guys rehab the building and we manage it. So they didn't have to do anything. But yeah, I just didn't feel duplexes, duplexes for my portfolio are too hard. It schmucks it up. I'm to the point right now that I do much better with commercial loans than I do loans for 2, 3, or 4 units.
Ed, I have a question for you. Is it
Make it simple.
easier to get a bigger loan than it is to get a smaller loan? Like, it would be harder to get a $70,000 loan than it would be to get a $700,000 loan. Just kind of curious.
You want my favorite answer? Okay. You ready for my favorite answer? It depends. And what do you think it depends on?
It depends on the depends on the buyer and it depends on the deal. Those two things depends on how qualified the person is. I think with a duplex, you have to personally qualify, don't you? You have to have like income to show you can pay for it,
Let
or
me
is
give you an example. A few years ago, we refinanced 3 of our duplexes. Okay. And we started in August. We were $70,000 loans for a $200,000 duplex. For 3 duplexes. So we're looking at $200,000 for 3 duplexes that were worth 600,000. Very high credit scores, very high reserves. My reserves could probably pay off the duplexes. All right. We started that in August. In that year, I bought 3 apartment complexes and I closed on all 3 apartment complexes in 45 days. Okay. They were multi-million-dollar apartment complexes. How long do you think it took me to refinance those 3 duplexes? Anybody care to guess? Cash
6 months.
flow was really good.
You
We were getting
You
$2,000
haven't
rent for a $600 payment.
you
Pardon?
haven't refinanced.
I refinanced them.
Oh, okay.
We started in August a couple years ago. How long do you think it took me to refinance them? Because I bought 3 apartment complexes and closed all 3 apartment complexes in 45 days each.
did it take you 6 months, Ed?
You know, if it took me 6 months, my wife would not have been upset at me. My wife was ready to kill me for the 11 months it took to refinance them. Because I kept asking for documents for the whole 11 months. You guys get the impression that I do not qualify very good, going to get my loan on my new house. Because 2 years ago, we bought a new house. That I did not put my old house up for sale. I was waiting to close on the new house before I put the old house up for sale. The bank that does all my apartment loans, his his home loan guy called me on like a Tuesday and says, "Oh yeah, we have all your stuff. You're going to be really easy to do." That was on Tuesday. Wednesday morning, he called me back. He says, "Ed, if we give you a regular loan, there's a couple of things I'm promising you. It's going to take forever and you will hate me. I promise you that." He says, "Here's what the bank would do. They'll give you a 2.5% loan, but they're going to give you a portfolio loan with a 10-year balloon." So now you guys all know what a portfolio loan is, right? Because nobody has questions. We're going to have a test at the end of this because I'm going to write up. Yes or no? What do you think?
Yes.
The answer is no, they did not. So if they didn't loan you the money and you went to the bank and you got the money, who loaned you the money? It's the secondary market. They sell all their loans to the bond market. You know how you always hear bonds are up, bonds are down, and nobody thinks that affects you? Your home loans all come from the secondary market. That's why you have to meet Freddie and Fannie Mae guidelines. So when you get a home loan, if you meet those guidelines, they can sell your loan to the secondary market. That's why they're always selling your loan. They're not really selling the loan, they're selling the servicing of your loan. Does that make sense? That's why your loan gets sold once in a while and you pay other people because the big servicers service the loan. When you go buy an apartment building like 5 units and up and you go to the bank, okay, who do you think's loaning you the money for an apartment building? It's actually the bank. So a portfolio loan means the bank is loaning you the money. They're holding the paper. It's not going to be sold. Does that make sense? That's why, remember I told you commercial loans, you have 7-year balloons? Do you understand why a bank puts a 7-year balloon on it now? They don't want to be committed to 30 years of an interest rate if interest rates go up. They don't even like 7-year balloons. And I can tell you why they give me 7 years, but that gets really complicated.
Why 7? Usually I think that they give 5 years on commercials.
They do. But then when you got somebody walking into the bank and say, "I won't do a 5-year balloon," okay? So, okay, I'll explain why they can do 7. Has anybody ever heard of a swap agreement? I didn't think so. Um,
Aren't they illegal,
They-
or are they coming around again, or isn't that what caused 2008? Like,
no. So swap agreements, here's what swap agreements called. A bank will give you a loan and they go to the stock market and say, "We want a swap agreement. We will give you like out of the interest rate on my $2 million loans, they're paying the swap company $700 a month out of the interest to guarantee the interest rate to the bank." Now the interest rates are up. I'm paying the same amount. The company that guaranteed that interest rate is now paying the bank $700 a month for the interest that they could be making on a higher loan. So it's a way of guaranteeing your interest rate for 7 years, and the banks do that to protect themselves. Because otherwise, if they're stuck with $1 million loan at 4% interest for 7 years, and interest rates go up to like 7% right now, they're losing 3% interest. So it's harder to get 7-year balloons. You got to go to a bigger bank, more sophisticated bank, etc. Does that kind of make sense? Here's what's nice about a swap agreement, though. If I sold my buildings right now, you know how they got prepayment penalties in commercial loans? If I sold my apartment buildings right now, some of my loans, they would pay me $150,000 to get rid of the loan.
That's because you got the interest rate lower when you financed it originally?
Yes. So now let's say I got a 7% loan and interest rates were 4% right now, and I went to sell that same building. What do you think would happen on my prepayment penalty? They would want to charge me $100,000 to prepay it off. Commercial loans usually have prepayment penalties if you pay them off early. So it gets a little complicated for financing on apartment buildings. But bottom line, going back to your original question, a person first starting off, you can have up to, somebody help me, how many loans can you have before it becomes a problem? Is it 10, I think?
10, yeah.
If you buy 10 houses on your 11th house, you will not get financing because they only allow you to have 10 houses. And when I did my refinancing, that took 11 months. I had 11 houses and we were paying a couple of them off. So I would get down to 9 houses. So I would qualify to get financing.
Ed, Anthony has a question.
Yes.
So Ed, that's 10 loans under your personal, not your business, correct?
Depends who you ask.
Oh. Okay.
A lot of it depends how it shows up on your tax returns. I have all my houses in corporations. The corporations that I own by myself, all right, all end up on my Schedule E on my personal taxes. Okay, so they're looking on your taxes. So all those houses are in corporations, but they show up on my taxes. And to make it even more interesting, those houses, a bunch of them are owner financed.
You said owner finance?
Yeah.
Oh.
And they're still counting those too.
Oh.
So I'm paying off my homes and not buying any more 2 units or anything like that. We want to see something interesting.
That's part of the fun. You have to play with them all the time. So did you guys can hear me with a lot of background, or it's okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, okay. I have a quick question that you were talking about the loans that you have your properties on different corporations. So the loans are actually done for the corporation, but you're a guarantor. Is that how it works?
Depends what kind of loans. A lot of the houses are owner financing. The other loans, I'm the grantor. In fact, any loans that you go to a bank, I am guaranteeing them, even on the apartment buildings. You know, like for example,
Yeah.
like on the apartment building that we did on the 6 unit, we had 2 investors on it. One investor had 401k money on it, and one investor was just an investor, and it was me. So there's 3 of us. Who do you think guaranteed the loan for the bank? So there's me, an investor,
You sign it
and 401k money.
You did.
all
You think
together.
the other 2 had to guarantee it?
The person with the 401k, did they guarantee it?
They cannot.
They
They
cannot.
cannot, right?
Yeah, the 401k cannot. The person with the money, do you think they guarantee the loan?
Probably not.
The bank will not let you get away with having anybody as a partner that's not 401k. They will make everybody who's a partner guarantee the loan.
So
So I can't
what does the
go and
person? Okay, but my question is, what does the person needs in order to be a guarantor, for example, on a $2 million loan? So is that net worth has to be 2 million as well, or how do they look at that?
they look at a lot of things. Like if you're one of my partners, they're not looking at my partners. I'll be real honest with you. They're going to get all your paperwork. They're going to make you guarantee the loan, but they're not looking at you unless you're really strong. They're looking at me. They're looking at a few things. First of all, they're looking, do you have any experience? Can you manage a property? Okay. Do you have reserves? How many reserves do you have? What's your loan to value? You know, how much equity do you have? You know, what's your credit score? They're looking at a whole bunch of different things. They're looking for your ability to pay. And that's why I'm
If they
lucky I can do 401k partners, and the bank usually doesn't give me a hard time.
No.
Here's what was interesting on that 6 unit. I have a few loans with that bank, and the bank likes me. Guess what the underwriters asked me for that they've never asked me for? Keep in mind now that all the rent was $800 a month and should have been $1,600.
Ask you why is the rent so low?
They knew why it was low. So, but I'm the buyer. So what do you think they were asking me?
How fast are you
what's your
going
plan
to
to
raise
what?
the rent?
Yeah, what's your plan to stabilize the building?
Very, very close. All right. That you can raise rent. So I gave them 3 of my properties, and this is what really scared me. Okay. I picked out 3 properties
Three per year, or
Let me help you. You're really lucky you don't rent from me. Rents a lot.
and in your experience, when you change the tenant, the turnover, how much do you have to invest per unit?
interest rates and the cost of money has doubled. What is that going to do in terms of forcing people to sell and giving us opportunities to buy properties?
There's a couple of things on here. My bank, and this surprised me, my bank said, if you want to buy another property, we will finance you on more properties. And now they know, between you and me, my banker wants to buy my business. All right. So he knows my position. He also said, if I want to bring another buyer in to buy an apartment building, okay, there's only one way. Like, let's say, Matthew, you want to buy an apartment building, I'm going to take you to my bank. He told me there's only one way to get you financed through that bank right now. And you know what that is? I have to partner.
It's having you manage the property for me.
No, he actually wants me. He wants me
guarantee.
to partner.
So you need to guarantee the loan.
No, yeah, he wants me to loan. Yeah, partner. Because that bank has stopped making loans. My other bank I get loans from are really, really getting picky on the figures. So if your risks are not where they should be and you're taking it to a bank to get finance, it's not going to finance. So that's why, and here's the other thing. If you got a commercial loan and interest rates are doubling and you haven't raised your rents, do you think the bank is going to refinance you? What do you think?
Probably not.
Probably not. I know a few sellers right now. We found 2 or 3 apartment buildings. Like we found one that I used to own. They bought it for $2 million. They borrowed $3.5 million to rehab the whole building and update it because it's a 1920 building. So they're updating all the bathrooms and everything. But they can't raise the rents enough to justify that. So we looked at the building, it's still worth $2 million what they bought it for in today's interest rates. And they owe $3.5 million on it with a 5-year balloon. You think they might be in trouble? What do you think?
Those are the opportunities that Matthew is talking about. You know, I have a friend that he was talking to me, telling me that the insurance in Florida went up crazy when they purchased the property 2 years ago. They purchased interest. How do you call that? It's like an insurance for not to, like a cap, right? For not to raise over X amount of amount. But on the second year, they started like with 4%. Now it's at 8%. So the money that they have for the reserves to fix the place is being used to pay the debt service. So
Yeah.
they are like we haven't been able to raise the net operating income. Therefore, the value of the property is about the same when they bought it about 2 years ago. So
Probably not. It's probably worth less because interest rates went up. As interest rates go up, the value goes down.
yes. And the
I
insurance is crazy. So I'm sorry just to cut you off, but what would we do to get one of those deals? In other words, the bank already know that they have challenges, so we gotta come in with the same situation because the interest are 8% or whatever.
Are you guys ready? The secret to finding these? Oh, going back to the other question that I never answered. How I remember I never answered it. I knock on doors. If I was looking for apartment buildings, every Saturday morning I would be knocking on doors and asking the owners are probably the ones working on the buildings on Saturday mornings. I'd be knocking on doors every Saturday morning. And I don't think you're going to do a deal right now. So, what is the most important thing about knocking on doors right now that you need to do?
Just have a
Create
conversation.
conversation and create a database and follow through with these people every 6 months. There are going to be deals out there. And they're coming. They're coming big time. Okay. So get a database, start talking to people. even mail to your database. Somebody says they're going to sell it in 1 to 2 years, or their balloon's coming up, but you know they're in trouble. Start mailing to them. Take them out to lunch. Guys, taking an owner out to lunch is worth gold. That is your best investment you'll ever make in your life. Take an owner out to lunch. Get a relationship.
Nice.
The deals are coming. I don't know when they're going to come. You know when they're really, really going to come? Let's add one more problem to your guys. They can't raise the rent. Their reserves are going to pay debt service. All right. What's one more problem that they may have in the next year that's really going to put them over the edge? Do you know what their problem is going to be? Has anybody paid more for groceries?
Yes.
Sure.
Has anybody paid more for the gym membership?
Yep.
Yep.
Has your insurance went up?
Talking about
Is-
inflation,
Yes.
Is anything in your life right now not gone up?
everything went up.
These tenants are being stretched to the nth max. And if it stretches a little more, they're saying next year, you know, people are starting to get laid off and everything. Next year, if these people start having trouble with tenants now, with all the other problems, what do you think's going to happen? Now he's using his reserves to pay the mortgage. He's, expenses have went up, and now his tenants can't pay rent.
So how can we guarantee that it won't happen to us? If we get somebody in that situation, what would be a different approach in order for us to guarantee that the deal is going to go through?
You want to do 20-year amortizations. If you can make it work on a 20-year amortization with 20% down, and you can hold out for the first 5 years, you got it made.
20-year amortization with 20, okay. At 20 down.
And see, that's like right now when I'm coming up with all my balloons. I've got my rents up 50, 60%. My debt is less than 0.5% of what we paid for the building. We've built up equity because we raised money. I could easily be at 30, 40% loan to value. If I have to refinance at 30, 40% loan to value, will I get the refinancing?
Absolutely. Bank
Yes.
would love it.
More than likely. There's nothing absolute anymore. Have you ever had a bank call a loan and you don't know why they're calling the loan? I have.
Why? Why did it?
There's two people that could get in trouble when you do a loan. What are the two people that could get in trouble? You
In the bank.
and the bank. If you're not in trouble when they're calling your loan, who's in trouble?
The
The
bank is in
bank
trouble.
Back in 2007 on one of our loans, they called all our loans. We had it with Charter One in Chicago. They called all of our loans. On one of our loans, we had a $2 million loan. And I told them, you want the building? Let me know. I'll come bring you the keys this afternoon. They didn't like dealing with me, okay? And we were paying our payment. We were on time. We got a letter a couple months later. They sold the loan. And you know what the people that bought the loan said on a $2 million loan? Give us $1 million, we'll call it even.
Wow.
So that bank discounted all those loans big time.
That's pretty cool.
So it's a big deal if they sell a commercial loan, you said. They sell residential loans all the time, but typically the commercial loans are held by the banks. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the commercial loan, what they did is they gave it to a hedge fund because they discounted them to get them out of their portfolio. Banks don't normally sell portfolio loans. The only time they sell them is if they're in trouble. The feds are ready to shut the bank down. And the bank the feds were ready to shut charter one down. They were ready to shut down a lot of banks. So what they do at that point, they get rid of the real estate loans, they sell them to a hedge fund, and I'm thinking the hedge fund probably paid 10 cents on the dollar for these loans. So imagine buying a $2 million loan for $200,000.
Did you pay him the million and let them make that the rest of that?
Yep.
But Ed, I'm confused about it. If they sell it to a hedge fund for 10 cents on the dollar, why didn't they offer you 50 cents on the dollar instead of selling it to the hedge fund?
I'm thinking that they can't
Hmm.
because of Fed regulations or something. I'm not sure why. You know, you're talking logically now, and the government's involved. Okay,
I
stop
apologize.
talking logically.
I apologize for talking logically.
The- Ed, did you talk about the opportunity for us to offer or request owner finance in a
Yes.
situation like that? So you guys
It
already
was
talked
our
about it?
best. It was our best talk ever about it, and
Okay.
you missed it.
Oh my God. I can get the replay. I have connections.
Ed, I have a question if you don't mind. Earlier, you mentioned that you don't do right now, duplexes and your quads, etc. So you go commercial and up because you have too many loans right now.
Right.
Have you tried looking at DSCR loans that are not through the banks directly? So right now, just help somebody from the community close on a DSCR loan on refinancing their house in the LLC name at 8.25%.
I haven't, because like you're probably talking what you said 8% interest.
Yeah, 8.25 right now.
Yeah, some of us
So-
are high interest rate adverse. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. Do they on those loans, do they have balloons on them or no?
No, 30 is fixed.
Okay. I've never looked at them, and maybe I should, but yeah, I don't. And the other thing is, if I've got to go through all that hassle for a 2 unit, and I'm going to go through the same hassle for a 12 unit.
Yeah, makes sense. Oh, it's different hustle, so no tax returns, nobody
No, I
looking
get
at
it.
anything. The only thing is just operating agreement, decent credit score over 720 will get you the best rates, and that's it, basically.
Yeah,
And
I get
appraisal.
it. Yeah. And we could look at it. It says, I am not, one of the problems we've got, I am not overly aggressive on buying right now. If you guys are young, you could be really aggressive buying. And if you screw up and you lose everything, you're okay. You start over and you'll build it up quicker the second time. You know what I mean? Right now, I'm to the point in my life, I don't want to lose everything. Because I'm like setting real nicely. You know, it's like, for regionals down in Atlanta, we're coming down for like 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I know it's rushing it a little bit, but I'm able to go anywhere I want, whenever I want, and take my time getting there. It takes us for a 14-hour drive to go to Denver. Okay, now you're talking a 14-hour drive. It takes us 3 days.
Cool. I thought you were looking for properties on your way there.
No, we go sightsee. When we're driving, we have to stop for lunch. And then, at 3 o'clock, we stop wherever we're at. And then we go look at the stuff in the area, go out to dinner. You know what I mean? Sightsee, do museums, whatever
You're
there's.
driving in your
Yeah.
RV? Are you going in an RV or are you going in an SUV?
SUV. We
Nice.
one of us has a wife that's amazing, and she knows how to use the timeshares. You know, everybody says timeshares are terrible. That's because nobody ever takes the time to figure them out. Well, bless my wife's soul, she's figured them out. Like when we went to Alaska for that week, for the two of us, it cost us $500. So when we come out to Atlanta, we're stopping in Myrtle Beach for a week, and we're staying in a timeshare somewhere in Myrtle Beach for a week. And that's like, you know, it's not going to cost us anything. We have a lot of timeshares, all kinds of different ones. So yeah, we travel the country.
I need
We're
to
going
call
to
Mary
Costa Rica for free.
in December, right?
Oh
Costa
yeah,
Rica's
December.
December.
Yeah,
I
we're
need
going to Costa Rica through Florida.
I need a workshop in November. So I'm gonna call Mary.
Yeah, call the boss.
Yeah.
We're going to Branson next week. Yeah, I think Monday we leave for Branson. And then November, I think she's got me leaving on the 3rd and coming back on the 14th.
Okay.
No, we're coming back on the 16th. Yeah, we're leaving on the 3rd and coming back on the 16th. I still got to sign up too. Is your regionals, is it on Smart or is it
It's
on?
it's on both.
Okay.
November the
Um,
3rd.
November 3rd and 4th. And so maybe we can do something the following weekend. I'll call.
Call the boss.
Yeah. It looks
It's
like
really
I'm gonna
hard to
be
get in my
in the-
schedule. You got to call
Yeah.
the boss.
But she likes me, so I'm lucky.
So yeah,